Hello, it's me, Nifithiel, and today I am going to be doing a project with some of the items from the December Sophie and Toffee blowout box, and I'm using this virtual pet mold that I cast with extra resin a while back. And what I'm doing here is I am taking the UV gloss coat and I'm putting it inside the shaker part of the mold because I want to try sticking some of this color shift powder to it. So I cured it a little bit so that it was tacky but not fully cured, and now I'm spreading the powder inside it with the included applicator. And I was actually kind of disappointed in the powder because I don't know if you can see it on camera because I've sped it up quite a bit, but I actually find the bottom of the pan right there, and it's like less than 1 millimeter thick of powder. Like, it looks like a lot more powder from the outside, but it's really not. But it's really pretty and it worked out. So now I'm just going to coat it with another layer of that UV gloss coat, and I'm going to add some pink shimmery stones that came in that box to kind of look like an aurora, because if you haven't guessed already, I'm going to be making a scene with the little baby polar bear that's sitting there on my workspace. So I'm just adding these pink shimmery stones to kind of look like an aurora, and I'm having a lot of hard times with my tweezers. They're not my favorite pair of crafting tweezers, but it's what I had. So I cure that, and then I'm taking this white crystal gel, and I'm gonna make a little snowdrift for the bear to stand on. So I'm also gonna use some of the silver stones that came in the December box to add some texture to the snowdrift, and again, struggling with my tweezers. But there we go, and I'm gonna put the little bear, nestle the little bear right into the snowdrift, and then go ahead and cure that. So once that's all cured, I'm gonna go ahead, and I'm a little concerned about the bear looking white on white. So I'm taking some of the black hollow powder that came in the December blowout box, and I'm just putting a little bit on the bear because I want it to fill in whatever crevices are on the bear so that it stands out a little bit more from the background. And then I'm just going to go ahead and coat that with the matte top coat that we got in the box. And this is actually an air dry formula, so you have to wait about 30 minutes for it to air dry. And while I'm waiting, I'm going to go ahead and embellish the front of the piece with some heart-shaped gems that were in the box. And just stick them on there with some UV resin and cure that. So once everything is good and cured and the bear is dry, I'm gonna get ready to actually make the shaker part. So I take some shaker film, and I always use a dry erase marker so it's easy to wipe off mistakes. As you can see just there, you cut off the piece of shaker film that you want, and then I'm filling the shaker with some of the metal spheres that came in the December box, and also with some of that really nice chunky glitter that came in the December box. And the glitter actually is going to stick to the background a bit more than I would have liked, but it's also really cool inside, as you'll see at the end. So I put everything in there, and I'm going to be filling it with shaker oil. And this mold is pretty hard to drill through, so I'm not going to do it. So I fill it a little bit with shaker oil, and then I'm going to apply the film like 90% of the way around. That way I'll have like a little corner that I can poke the applicator bottle through, and that way I won't have to drill through the resin because I'm just not feeling the drill today. So I stick the little piece of film on, and then we're going to cure it. I always put some kind of force on top of the film so that I make sure it cures flat. And then I'm sticking the oil applicator bottle in through the corner, filling it up the rest of the way, and then sealing all of the edges. with UV resin and then curing it. So after that, I check for leaks, make sure everything's good, and then I'm just gonna dome the whole piece with UV resin, which is gonna make everything shiny, which is interesting because the mold started out with everything matte. So now we're making everything shiny by doming it. But we're also making sure that all of the edges of the shaker film are really nice and sealed so that we don't leak any oil or glitter. So I do a few different applications, just making sure everything is covered, and I use the silicone tool to get everything out to the edge, and then I cure it. So once everything is cured, once it's all good, then I'm taking that UV gloss coat and I'm putting it on like what would be the screen of the virtual pet, which is the shaker area, just to make it extra shiny, and I'm curing it again. The cool thing about this UV gloss varnish is that it's not at all tacky, so it's a really good thing to finish off things that might be a little bit tacky after curing the UV resin. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking the matte finish, the air dry matte finish that came in the box, and I am turning all the rest of the virtual pet shell, I'm turning it all matte again, just like it was when it came out of the mold. Now, this matte sealer, it's pretty tricky. It's thick and it's kind of hard to hide your brush strokes. And part of it might be the cheap applicator brush that it comes with. So I think next time I use it, I'm going to try a better brush. But it's tricky to make it look nice. So eventually I was just kind of globbing it on there. I did about 3 layers of it. I'm trying to make it look nice instead of globby. And it turned out okay in the end. But like I said, you got to let it dry for quite some time since it's an air dry. So we let it dry, do some more coats as needed, and then once it's dry, I have some more plans to finish it off. So I'm going to be putting a bail on the back so that we can have it as a keychain. Again, I don't feel like drilling into this big hunk of resin today, but we'll put a bail on it so we can use it as a keychain. And I'm just topping it off with a few more spots that were missed or shallow with the matte coat. And then we're gonna let it dry. And once it's dry, I'm using the gummy resin that came in the December box to put the buttons back on of the front of this virtual pet. Because when you dome this mold, the buttons kind of disappear. So I put them back on with the gummy resin, and now I'm just securing the bail to the back of the piece. So the gummy buttons will now feel kind of like a texture on them when you press them, because they'll be flexible. And so here's the final piece. So you can see the matte texture is nice next to the glossy. The buttons are very cool, and the shaker objects move around well. So, hope you enjoyed my project here. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.